instance with our SWAT team and our hostage negotiations team. What they believed they had was a hostage scene involving a suspect who had just robbed a nearby business. At the time, we were also aware that at least one round was fired from inside of a hotel room. There were possibly 2 hostages inside, and as well, one officer may have also discharged his firearm. I'll have to allow Jersey Village to speak to that. So that's what we walked into. We came to the scene, gathered as much information as we could. We were in touch with the suspect very early on as he was calling down to the desk, and really just, it was a team effort. The SWAT officers and supervisors did a great job of coming up with contingency plans. Every time the context of our discussions changed with the negotiators, and so they were prepared to adjust their response accordingly. Negotiators were consistent in their communications. They were able to establish a rapport with the suspect, and slowly they were able to get some compliance from him. First, he released a male suspect. We continued to negotiate with him after that. There was still a female hostage inside of the room. We also knew he was still armed with a weapon. At times we could hear sounds like he was manipulating a weapon, and so it was very tense. But great team effort. Everyone continued to work through each problem as it came up. Finally, he allowed the female to drop the pistol outside of the window. During the initial engagement with Jersey Village PD, he broke out the window. It's on a third floor hotel room. So using that window, he had the female hostage dump the gun out of the window. So obviously at that point there was a small sigh of relief. We continued to talk with him. The negotiators, it was a real team effort. I'm sure you all imagine just one person on the phone talking with the suspect, but it was a great team effort with gathering information, sharing information, and strategizing, and also communicating with other officers on scene. I should also note that Jersey Village Fire Department was on scene, as well as HFD did check by with one of their medic boxes, as well as the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Harris County Sheriff's Office was critical because they assisted with providing the perimeter security so that we didn't have to worry about potential hazards to other innocent persons who were not on scene, since this was adjacent to a freeway. So again, good team effort, great communication, and finally we came to an agreement with the suspect. Once he was able to communicate with his parents, he said that he would give up. We were able to accomplish that, and we were able to hold him to his word. There was a little bit of a stall, but he finally complied, gave himself up. We were able to place him in custody without any real use of force. He did appear to have some self-inflicted wounds. Occasionally he would talk about harming himself, but none of those wounds were serious. He'll be transported to the hospital, to an area hospital for initial treatment, and then he'll be transported to the jail for booking. Jersey Village Police Department did secure new felony charges today. I think it was multiple charges, including aggravated robbery and aggravated assault, and I believe there were 2 more charges. In addition to that, he had an open felony warrant for robbery out of Brazoria County, as well as a parole violation. So at this time, he's going to be treated, released probably in short order, transported to Harris County, where he'll be processed for these new charges today. Thankfully, the hostages were released without injury. They seem to be in good condition. No officers were harmed, and that's where we stand at this point. Anything related to the investigation itself, I'll have to let Jersey Village PD speak to that.
How old was he?
He was young. He was in his early 20s.
Let me ask you this: the parents, you said you were able to comply with him with his parents. Did they show up, or you saw somebody hugging him?
We did have, his parents did come to the scene, so we were able to get that.
What's the relationship between him and the 2 hostages?
So unknown how long they've known each other. They appear to be acquaintances. They all were linked to this room, and prior to tonight, spent time together in this room. So I can't speak to what level of friendship or intimacy between any of them, but they certainly knew each other prior to tonight.
Do we know if he was under the influence of any drug?
He may very well have been. We do have reason to believe that he was under the influence of drugs.
The weapon, was it only one
So at this time, there's a search warrant. Jersey Village is going to have to fully process the hotel room pursuant to that search warrant. We did recover the one pistol that was tossed out, and ultimately that room is going to have to be processed to see if there were any hidden or secured elsewhere in the room.
You said the other two that were being held hostage were involved in the robbery?
No, so they're acquaintances, and they were in the same location earlier, but only he at this time is charged for the robbery.
You said that every time discussions change, negotiators have to adjust their tactics. I know you can't get into a lot of the conversation, but can you elaborate on that? Was that hostile? Was it calm
So
for most of the morning?
it was up and down is the best way that I can describe it. Going from highly emotional to being calm. And so that's where the tension is. Instead of having just a consistent demeanor, it was a little erratic, which is one of the reasons we believed he was under the influence of some sort of substance. So it was just, he would be calm one minute and then highly agitated another minute. And so during those periods of agitation, everyone had to be prepared to make a timely reaction if he did something that necessitated, an urgent rescue or some other action.
Other than his parents' request, were there any other demands that he was making?
So I won't get into that. That was just the last thing. It kind of got us to our conclusion. I'm going to take two more at this point.
We heard that this ran really long, and there have been situations where you all were able to essentially put a type of smoke thing inside to get people out. Is this different because he was holding people hostage, or was this a reasonable amount of time as long as it took?
So I'm not sure about the smoke. Are you referring to other scenes? Because I'm not aware of any smoke involved with this. We did evacuate the third floor for everyone's safety. Certainly, our job is to protect innocent lives and victims, and so that's what we did. And so we evacuated the third floor. As far as the duration, there's no bright line in terms of at this minute mark you make these decisions. So it's a fluid situation. You have to read it as it comes, and you have to take opportunities as they come and be ready, be prepared for those opportunities. So it's like I said before, it's really a team effort, and I hope that answered your question. Last question.
Yes, you said self-inflicted wounds.
Yep.
Was he cutting himself in there?
He appears to have been cutting himself with something. I'm not sure exactly what. So I don't know if he was using the broken glass or if there was a knife in there. I'm not sure, but he had some sort of cut wounds.
Can I just ask real quickly about working in this heat?
Yep.
We saw a lot of these officers come after this is a long standoff, and they looked like they were just really struggling. Obviously, it's been a tough day. Talk about how you guys do.
Yeah, so heat is definitely consideration, and so we have to be mindful of that. We try to make sure that we have hydration, have water, do something to make sure that everyone is as fresh as possible, and to the extent possible, turnover personnel. We went through a shift change, and so the other agencies were able to refresh their personnel. For my personnel, we were all coming from an off-duty status and came from the call out. And that's one of those logistics that we just have to work through and be prepared for. It's a hot summer, so every scene we respond to, we're going to have lots of cold water to take care of exactly this. Thankfully, we were inside, and so that mitigated some of the effects. I appreciate everybody as I'm losing my voice.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you all.
Are you able to release the name?